When we analyze an organization and take the analysis deep into the formulations and the way in which it is functioning, the way in which the psychological safety is working in that organization, and is there any conflict between the people, groups of leaders, groups of managers working in an organization, enough diagnostics, that is, a team must be there to clearly diagnose what is exactly happening in that organization. Here, the role of mentors, onlookers, and senior managers with all experience in social sciences, not only technology, technical excellence, but also excellence in social sciences like psychology, behavior, the behavior of a worker in a limited parameters area, or the behavior of a manager in leading a smaller job, and while taking a big project, what are the behavioral patterns changing constantly to this team of managers. Here, diagnose we must diagnose correctly when there is a discomfort in the organization. If you do not diagnose the discomfort level, what is happening in the organization, definitely it is going to convert into a feeling of grief. The moment it is converted to the level of a grief, the organization has to face several problems. Here we would like to discuss discomfort is a symptom for a sign of grief. So we have to take into consideration and that create the symptom at the level of discomfort itself. Several people, they come when commissioning in the harrowing time of several important problems, they talked things that discomfort is there, meaning of the grief, meaning of the discomfort, feeling discomfort in a new arena with new people, new ideas, new tasks. Definitely there will be some discomfort. After all, every human is acclimatized to a certain level of thinking and system. When there is a novel thing he has to adapt, that discomfort will be there. But when it transforms into grief, that is the problem. Here, what is the definition of this grief? Immediately we recollect Dr. Kessler, David Kessler, who wrote much on this grief. The world's foremost expert on grief is considered to be. He wrote Grieving, Finding the Meaning of Grief, On Grief, Grieving Through 5 Stages of Loss. His new book adds another stage of the process, finding meaning, the 6th stage of grief. Kessler also has worked for a decade in 3 hospital systems in Los Angeles. He served several years on this subject. Kessler shared his thoughts on why it is important to acknowledge the grief you may be feeling, how to manage it, and how he believes we will find meaning in it. The conversation is definitely done quite a lot of extent among the managers and intellectuals who are dealing this subject, where we are feeling a number of different griefs. We feel the world has changed, and it has to be changed. We know this is temporary, but it does not feel that way. And we realize things will be different, just as going to the airport are forever different in a different stance or a different landscape. The loss of normalcy, which we enjoy for a certain time, fear of the toll, the loss of connection that hitting us, we are grieving collectively. We are not used to this kind of collective grief in the air. But if you allow the grief without curbing it at an appropriate level, there is ever a possibility it will become a collective grief in an organization. There we have to take into consideration several important things. It is another great grief is anticipatory grief. We are also feeling anticipatory grief. And anticipatory grief is that feeling we get about that the future holds when we are uncertain. Usually it centers on several bad feelings and bad consequences which we are anticipating. We feel it when someone gets dire diagnosis of this grief crossing the boundaries of discomfort. This anticipatory grief is also more broadly imagined futures. There is a storm coming. What will happen? That negative feeling to avoid, a diagnosis has to be done at the level of discomfort itself. What can individuals do to manage all the grief? Understanding the stages of grief is a start. I repeat, understanding the stages of grief is a start. But whenever we talk about the stages of grief, we have to remind people that the stages are not linear and may not happen in this order. It is not a map, but it provides some scaffolding for this unknown world that is anticipatory grief. There is denial, which we say a lot of early on this. This will not go long. What will happen to our future? Okay, so much of distance has come already because of anticipatory thing. We may get very, very bad thing. We may not succeed. There may not be a positive result. All such things are part of anticipatory griefs. When we are feeling grief, there is that physical pain and the racing mind are three techniques to deal with that. It makes itself intense. Fine must, see, after all, what we have to work for is our minds are being protective. Our goal is not to ignore these images or to try to make them go away. Your mind won't let you to do that, and it can be painful to try and force it. The goal is ultimately find balance in the things you are thinking. I repeat this wonderful sentence. Find balance in the things you are thinking. If you feel the worst image of taking shape, make yourself think of the best image also. We all get little sick, and the world continues. Not everyone I love, we may depart. Maybe no one does because we are all taking the right steps. Neither scenario should be ignored, but neither should dominate either. See, extremely optimistic future thinking, extremely pessimistic negative thinking. Your mind cannot totally avoid those things, but mind must pursue as a human, the manager in the organization, the management in the organization, as a group and collectively pursue that anticipatory grief to avoid it, that find a balance in the things you are thinking, that future imagining the worst. To calm yourself, you want to come into the present. This will be familiar advice to anyone who has meditated on practiced mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness is a wonderful remedy for this. But people are always surprised to how prosaic this can be. You can name 5 things in the room. There is a computer, a chair, picture, the dog and old rug, and a coffee mug. It is that simple. Breathe, realize that in the present moment, nothing you have anticipated has happened. In this moment, you are okay. You have food. You are not sick. Use your senses and think about what they feel. The desk is hard. The blanket is soft. It can feel the health coming into my nose, the health of the organization making an impression. Finally, to have a good time, to stock upon compassion. Let go of what you cannot control. Let go of what you cannot control. Stock upon compassion. Everyone will have different levels of fear and grief, and it manifests in different ways. A co-worker got very snippy with me the other day, and I thought that is not like this person. That is how they are dealing with this. Dealing with this fear and anticipatory grief, if it is turned into grief from the level of discomfort, unless management is very careful, diagnosing at an early stage and taking steps to curb these feelings collectively in the organization, it will give a long problem to the organization. Particularly, troubling aspect of any anticipated fear about the economic prosperity and the security and the psychological safety of the manager or a worker or anything. What do we say someone who is well read on this and still feeling overwhelmed with grief? See, there are people who are well read. They have they are well knowledgeable about things what will happen in the life and all those things. They have big reading and everything, but still feeling overwhelmed with grief. Keep trying. There is something powerful about naming this as grief. It helps us feel that inside of us. So many have told me in the past, I am telling my co-workers I am having a hard time. What is hard time? Without hard time, there is nothing available in the life, nothing available in the society. This philosophy has to be inducted through mentors, through learning and development, through senior managers freely talking to the people. That is only the solution for this. See, some people say, I feel sad, but I should not feel that. Other people have it worse. We should stop at the first feeling itself. See, if you feel like stopping at the first level of the starting of the sadness, that must be within 5 minutes to feel sad. Within 5 minutes, you can make him to also be happy, bringing right philosophy and inducting that positivity into the minds of the people. Your work is to feel your happiness. Anger should be avoided. Someone else is feeling something, throw it off. Fighting it, fight out. It does not, mere just feeling sadness does not help you in producing anything. So, in an orderly way, finally, sometimes we try not to feel what we are feeling. Again, I repeat, sometimes we try not to feel what we are feeling because we have this image of a gang of feelings. It's a great concept called gang of feelings. If I feel sad, it will never go away. The gang of bad feelings will overrun me. The truth is a feeling that moves through us. We feel it and it goes, and then we go to the extent feeling. There is no gang out to get us. It is absurd to think we should not feel grief right now. Let yourself feel the grief and keep going. Okay, when it is inevitable, keep going, duly suppressing, duly making your mind to absorb the real feelings or the real content of the grief which can be avoided, which can be made, which can be totally annihilated from your brain and convert your brain into a center of productive energy in the best interests of yourself, your team, and the organization. If that philosophy is inducted, the discomfort which we discussed earlier, that level of discomfort will not be allowed to become a grief. This is where the art of management, the art of diagnosis, the art of diagnosing at what level the collective feeling, the universal feeling of the working community and the managers community is going in an organization. This is where the role of senior most managers with a philosophical background and psychology and social sciences, not mere technical skill, can protect the organization at this juncture. It is only the widespread, that wider net available to an organization in various social sciences field can come together and bring a philosophical base to the organization to avoid not only grief entering into the organization, but avoid the total discomfort available in the organization, and they can run the organization on most productive lines and make the organization most successful. So finally, we say at the level of discomfort itself, it has to be annihilated in the larger interests of the organization and the working community. Thank you very much.